guys, how are you? How are you? How are you? Welcome to a new week. Happy Monday. First and foremost, right at the top of the chat here, thank you for being flexible with me. I know we had this scheduled for Friday originally, but I had some craziness come up at the super last minute, literally the very last minute. A little bit of drama, but all good, and here we are now. And it kind of makes sense, because in this chat I want to talk about setting new goals, imagining what new challenges can and might look like for us, and it's the beginning of a new week. So that being said, hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I know I did. I had some work to do, but I did some, but I also let myself off the hook, and I let myself enjoy the weekend. So that's an important part of what we'll be talking about in the next few minutes. So once again, thank you guys for joining, for being here, for not only being on the chat, but being a part of the membership site. It's because of you guys that we're getting this up and moving, and it's gaining some momentum. So awesome. So I picked this topic, how to set goals, for a little bit of selfish reasons. I know it's something that we all kind of continue to think about at times. And in my case, having just completed a larger goal, I had set out to run a 100-mile race this spring, and I did it, which you all know. Thank you for being so supportive. But we did it, and then we relaxed, and recovered. Got some rejuvenation, feel revitalized. And once that process happens, then it's time to look forward, and to start setting new goals and new challenges, and what do I want to strive for now? At least that's the way that I operate best, in terms of not just training, but my life. Because I know that I'm the happiest, and I feel most people are the happiest when we are achieving progress. Whatever the progress looks like, that's when I think we radiate, we smile the most. So 100 miles done, rested, recovered, and now on to new things. And when I go through this process, I kind of start right at the basics all over again. It's like, what do I love devoting my time to? What do you love devoting your time to? Who do you enjoy being around? What types of people do you enjoy being around? What types of activities do you like doing? What do I want to do more of? And that's really it for me. Like, what do I love, and how do I amplify that? And how do I create a goal, a challenge around that? And so y'all know, like, running is one of my passions. And so it's fairly easy to come up with new goals, whether it's distance, the length that I'll run, the speed that I'll run, or a new location. There's always fun variables to play with. So when I'm beginning to set these goals, or just start thinking about setting new goals, I look at those passions, and I also then kind of feel like, well, I know my passions. What am I lacking in my life? Am I lacking the execution of those passions in certain areas? Say in my relationship. Am I devoting enough time in my relationship, to my relationship? Am I devoting enough time to friends? Quality, good, heart-to-heart time with friends? Am I lacking meditation time? Am I lacking just the basic roots of health and wellness? Am I lacking work? Am I not showing up, being present in a productive, meaningful, effective way when I sit down to do my work. And I mentioned health and wellness, but fitness. Am I not showing up, whether it's at a gym, whether it's at a class, whether it's just outside, at the park? Am I lacking that time, and am I not being fair to myself in devoting time to each of these categories? So there's many others, but setting new goals requires us to look at what we love, what our passions are, what we lack, what we feel we lack, and quite honestly, probably the most important, what are the emotions we're lacking? Are we not feeling as joyous as we possibly could? Are we going through some anguish that is most definitely okay? It's a part of life, but maybe we're not processing it well. We're not moving through it. I don't want to say quickly, because each thing takes its time. But are we not dealing with it? That's the important thing, because it's one thing to sit in anguish, but it's another thing to learn to process and to use it to our benefit. All places to look at. And like I said, I know for me, running is the easiest because I can set the length, I can play with speed goals, or I can say, hey, I want to go run in Cuba, which those videos are coming soon. Those are next after the Caballo Blanco, if you guys have been keeping up with the travel questing series. I can play with those three categories. And then I can also, and I do also, I'm making now new goals that are centered around my relationship. I'm constantly making new goals with my friends. And I said meditation time because I realized, gosh, for 7 years, I was laying down to meditate for 15-20 minutes a day, and suddenly I've gotten out of it. And I'm not sure why, but I know I really enjoyed it, so I'm putting it on my list of things to do every day, just as a gentle reminder of do it, and then I can check it off. And actually, when I put that little check next to it, I get this little internal glow of, yeah, I did it. And that's the progress we're talking about. So like I said, the most important part about these goals is what do we think, how do we think accomplishing these goals will make us feel? Even if it's, say, saving money to buy a house, to buy a vacation home, to buy whatever car, that purchase fills an emotional need within us. No matter what, it just does. It might be as neutral as satisfaction, and it might be high extreme joy of fulfilling a bucket list item that we've been thinking about for decades. But it's important to emotionally feel what that end result's going to feel like. I know that I do that. I just did that with the 100-mile race. I started, even in the training, I had dreamt and thought about what the final outcome would look like, would feel like. But then I think I told this story a couple weeks ago, but 3 miles into 100 miles, I was like, oh, why am I doing this? I'm bored, the whole thing. And then I realized the mental coaching that is needed for any large challenge, any large goal, I can talk myself through it. I can coach myself through it. So how do I want to feel? Oh yeah, that is. And suddenly, just like that, suddenly it catches on, and before you know it, it's they're all real thoughts, but that momentum actually carries through. It's funny, my years doing commercials and whatnot, actors and directors, producers that I've worked with have kind of joked around that, oh, Ryan's got the best fake laugh. And I'll tell you this, I might have a fake laugh, It starts off at fake, but it's an old acting exercise that if you start to fake laugh and you keep going, you're going to end up laughing for real. And that's just like any emotion. So choose the positive emotions at the end of the goal, and we're going to associate those emotions to the steps it takes to get there, to that final outcome of feeling that, to rewarding ourselves with that. And I just mentioned steps because now that we have these goals, and I'm talking like the larger 100-mile goal, buying a house goal, that kind of thing. I guess it doesn't even matter the size as I think about it now. It's always, what I found, it's always important to break it down into smarter, doable, efficient goals. So take my example of doing 100 miles and being 3 miles into it and knowing my head is not in the best place. What did I turn to? I turned to do the next mile. Let's just do the next mile. Let's get there. And then suddenly I found myself saying, let's get to 10. Oh, crap, I just made it to 10. Okay, now let's do 20. And that's literally how I went about it. Actually, the first evening, I started off on a Friday evening, I said, I'm going to do, once I worked myself up to this place, I said, I'm going to do 30 miles. Then I'm going to have some dinner. I'm going to put my feet up. I'm going to get back out there. Because that rest and relaxation time, I knew, while it wasn't much, trust me, it was a couple hours at most, I knew that that's important to move along, to keep going. For me, in that moment, in that particular challenge, in that particular race. So yeah, it's creating smarter, doable, effective goals. And the training for this 100-mile run, I will say every day I had a goal to show up and run. And this was for about I train a lot, but it was really about a month and a half before the actual execution of the 100 miles. I said every day I want to show up and run on the treadmill. I did a lot of treadmill running, training. And that's what I did. And it's funny, I actually had somebody up the gym come over and introduce himself to me and said, oh, you're a fucking beast, you're here all the time, like, what are you training for? So I talked to him, and I realized it's the consistency that I needed for this to mentally become confident in knowing that I could tackle the 100 miles. It was the consistency of showing up to do something when maybe I felt like doing something else, but I know I still wanted to finish that goal. It was the consistency of still showing up. So yeah, and by creating those smaller, doable goals, I was able to see progress that I could see. It was actionable, that I could see, and that I can measure. Because like I said, I knew it was every day. I had some length thrown in there, no less than 8 miles a day. And so I was able to check things off. Literally, that's how I go about it. Actually, in my notes on my phone, I add that little green, check mark. And it's a feeling of like, I got that done. Okay, it's getting me to the place that I know I want to be. And along with goals, when we have these goals, is the timeline. A timeline of how quickly do I want to accomplish this? What's the deadline? When's the execution of the run? When is the vacation that I'm working on that summer body for? When do I know I want to switch jobs? By the end of the summer. So we're going to look and kind of bring our weeks back, build backwards to say, well, now it's mid-May. So what are the steps I can do to know that I can be at a new company or have a new job by the end of the summer? Well, building my resume, all that kind of stuff. And this is stuff that you guys know, but it's also important. I found it's important for me to remember doable, actionable goals that we can measure always get us to the greater end good. So yeah, what's our timeline? When do we want this to happen? And then I guess part of goal setting, or the beginning of the execution of a goal, working towards that goal, for me, the toughest part is usually starting. That's it. It's just starting. Because if you're anything like me, and if you've got any of the emotions going on in my head like I do, I start playing with all the variables, with all the things that I feel the least comfortable with, but are involved in this goal. And my go-to are all of the reasons why it's going to be hard to do this. And I'm here to tell you, embrace those thoughts, say thank you. I actually call those thoughts the beast. Whether it's sitting down to edit a video, or whether it's the thoughts when I'm in a run and I'm not really feeling the run, that's the beast really trying to shake me. And so what I found works best for me is I say thank you, I acknowledge how I'm feeling, I remember how I want to feel, and I dismiss the beast. And sometimes it happens over and over and over again on a repeated day, and sometimes it shows up once, say thank you, goodbye, and I move on. But that's the mental coaching that goes into working toward a large and significant goal. So that first step, getting started, I think is always the most important. Because it's from there that we can build the momentum. It's from there that we start spiraling in a good way, and we start seeing ourselves check off the actionable items, and before we know it, we're 25 miles into a 100-mile run. And that's not halfway, but it's a quarter of a way there. I do know some math. And that being said, like I was out on the trail, and as I was making these goals to hit the 10 mile benchmark, and then the 20, and then I said, you know what, 30 miles, it's going to be midnight, I've been running for 6 hours, I think I'm gonna have some dinner. That's what I need to get me going in the most efficient way for the next 70 miles. And so what is that? That's being open to evolving as we go through the process. That's being open to evolving and changing our smaller goals while still having the end game in mind. And that's what I did all throughout that process. So just to fill this out, I had dinner, put my feet up, and then went back out super, super early Saturday morning. And I said, okay, today, during daylight on Saturday, I want to do 50 miles. And I actually remember thinking, that's going to feel so fucking good, That's going to feel great. Because at that point, forgive me, no, it was 40 miles. Forgive me. Because at that point, I remember thinking, oh, it's going to feel so great, I'm going to have 70 miles done. 70 means there's 30 left. And in my weird, twisted head, I'm almost done. Clearly 30 miles is no joke. But that's how I was processing it. And if I can build up that momentum to get to the 70 miles at the end of daylight on Saturday, I'm in a really good spot. And I'm going to feel really good about that. So that was enough fuel to help me, even when I was feeling down on those 40 miles during the day on Saturday, to change up that perspective. To say, you know what, this is fleeting, and I'm actually really enjoying this. I can look around, I can see the sun, I can see some trees, I saw some animals. And it's finding the bright spots in these smaller goals that help get us to the end. So, yeah, it's being willing to adapt, willing to evolve, while still having the end game in sight. And then another super important part of not just setting the goal can actually be a very, and it must be a very personable project, but executing a goal, I think it's important to talk to somebody about it, talk to a close friend. That's why we have our tribes, right? It's to feel accountable, to have people around us who are encouraging us, who share a similar point of view, even if that point of view is as basic as wanting what's best for us as we see it. It's nice to have their input, and their, their positive critical input that we could work from. But it's always best that we have people, when we're trying to execute this goal, that we trust they have our best interest at heart as we see it, and at times willing to interject, well, why don't you try this? Or why don't you try this? And that helps us in the evolving space. That helps us in the adapting space. And if you're like me, it actually helps me stay motivated of, yeah, okay, like, even when I think I'm alone and doing a goal by myself, I'm not. Because showing up in a casting room and I want this job, I really do. Whether or not I get it, that's a different story. But it's showing up and realizing everybody here just wants the best for me too. We all just want to be the best for ourselves. It's a good positive. It's building that good positive environment that helps us jetpack it, fuel into the future, and towards those goals. So yeah, it's communicating, being open, talking with friends about it, friends that we trust, and it doesn't have to be a lot. In fact, I would say don't make it many friends. There is that theory of the more we talk about something, the more we dilute it, and the least likely we're able to make that happen, or we're able to get there. So just pick those couple close people in your life and share, be open, be accountable, be open to evolving. And remember, the whole point of setting goals is because we set goals because whatever we think that end game is, that's going to make us feel better. Not that we feel bad now, and if we do, we'll feel better. But no matter what it is, we're going to feel even better. Even better. So that's where I'm at with setting goals. With the summer quickly coming around, and realizing, wow, we are just flying through this year. And knowing that I've just completed a significant run in the physical space, it's a moment for me of, okay, yeah, we're not quite halfway there yet. That's great. But what do I want these next couple months to look like in each of the areas of my life? And that's it. So yeah, it's about having fun, and it's about keeping that perspective of, I don't believe that any of us are broken beings, but it's about improving our beings. It's about always being a work in progress. So that's where I'm at. You guys know where to find me. I love having these chats. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I did not even look at the question, if there's questions today. I was just ranting. But yeah, drop me an email, hit me up over on Instagram, or just, comment here on the website. And I'm trying to figure out if we'll have a live chat on Friday or not. If we'll probably do a live chat on Instagram on Friday, and then we'll meet back here, only in the membership site next week. So, as always, you guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Have a great Monday. Let's get it done.